Hello and welcome to the assemblies walkthrough. So we're going to create an assembly from scratch and learn how to do that as we do it. So this is a brand new account, nothing much going on there, but I've loaded some materials. So we're going to do like a shingle roof as an example for the assembly. So we have some ridge, underlay, a starter strip, plumbing vent, nails, Dakota shingles, and some ventilation going on in the materials. One thing that's really nice to notice there on the material is that you need to have some kind of calculation variables. So in the case here of the ridge, we always calculate that as a length. So we've put here 30 feet of length for the ridge, which is for one package of ridge, you have 30 feet of length. This depends on what you buy and what you have. So make sure to add those calculation variables. So the same thing goes for the shingles themselves. So one package of shingle actually have 33 feet of shingles inside. So that's the surface area that a package covers. And we're going to use that to actually calculate the number of packages we need for a given surface area. So let's let's start. One last thing. Sometimes you have things that are not really with surfaces or length, but in this case here we have nails. So one box of nail, actually here from experience we know that it covers about 800 square feet of uh, roof. So again, this depends on your box, and this depends on your on how many nails you put per shingle, or etc., etc. So this is based on your experience. So let's go and click on preferences and then assemblies to go into the assembly. And I've created a blank one here that's called pitched roof, and we'll use that. So the interface here, you have three things. You have inputs, formulas, and outputs. So the inputs is where this is the question the assembly is going to ask to do the calculations. The formulas is where the actual calculations occur, and then the outputs is where you put everything together. So you put like the material and the quantity, and this is what's going to be outputted on your quote. Now, so let's start with the inputs. So first of all, we have the input name. So in that case, in any roof, we have like a surface area that we want to cover, and that's in that case it's going to be a number, but you can have like numbers, materials, rates, yes or no, which is a true or false answer. So maybe sometimes you have some questions, and you can do some cool stuff in the calculation with those. So you have that, and then a predefined value is like if you want to have a value that's already predefined when you actually use that input. Okay, so let's save that, and let's add another input, which is going to be the shingle that we want to use. So let's put the shingle in there. So that's going to be the shingles, and that's going to be a material where we can predefine it, but in that case we won't predefine it. So here we'll just say that the filter for the search is going to be shingle, so it's all only going to show the materials that match that search filter. So let's save that and see how it goes on the test. So here you have the surface area, you have the shingles, and as you can see, the search is already pre-filled out with shingles, and you can select BP if you want. And here you can enter 2000, and nothing's going on because we don't have any calculation nor output. So let's add those. So for the calculations here, that's going to be the number of shingle packages, and I'm going to have the surface area. So this is the total surface area for my roof, and I'm going to I'm gonna divide that by the surface area of a single package of shingles. So in that case here, and since uh, we always sell complete package of shingles, then this might give me like 60.1 package of shingles. What am I gonna do with the dot nine package of shingles that is left? So I'm gonna make sure it's always complete number. It's always going rounding up to if I have 60.1, it's gonna give me 61 package. So to do that, we use the available functions at the bottom here. So we have the seal for sealing. So we just type that in, seal, and then with parentheses, you just complete that, and it's gonna give me always uh, uh, complete values up to the next digit. So let's save that, and then we go to the outputs and we say shingles, and then number of shingles packages, and we can test that now. So we have 2000, and then we just go in and take the Dakota, and yeah, as you can see here, if I change anything, it's recalculating the results based on what I've chosen before. So this is cool. It's working for now for this, and let's add some other stuff. So let's do a starter strip and maybe an underlay on the starter strip, since we're in Canada and there's a lot of winter here. So let's do a starter strip, and let's call it maybe starter starter length. So that's the length of my starter strip, and the predefined value, we're gonna leave that, and we're gonna add like a starter itself, a starter strip, which is gonna be the material. We're predefining that. Save, and now we're gonna do maybe add the underlay, right? So material, and then we're gonna take the underlay there. Okay, good. So now we can use like number of starter, and that's gonna be the same thing. So that's gonna be seal, and then because I want to have complete packages, and maybe it's gonna be the starter strip. Where is it? Starter strip, starter length divided by my starter strip length here. Okay, let's copy that for now, and then save it. Good. And then we're going to do the same thing for the underlay, nb rows underlay, and it's going to be the same things, but here we're gonna use the underlay length instead of the starter strip length, and save that, and use that starter strip, and then number of starter as the quantity, and the same thing underlay, and then number of rows of underlay for the outputs. And now if we go here, we have 2000. We go pick the Dakota, and maybe have 1,000 feet of, maybe 200 feet of starter strip. It's going to calculate the rolls I need for that. It's going to calculate the packages. Okay, so that's a nice example. You can see it's always the same thing we do over and over, and we build on what we already have, and we can create like more and more complex calculations. You can add also rates. So that's going to be a rate, and predefined rate, let's say foreman, and we can calculate based on experience and stuff like that. We can say that my number of hours will be like the surface area, and I can actually do like maybe 100 square feet per hour. So I divide it by that, and I save it, and now I can calculate with a good rule of thumb the number of hours I need. And once an assembly is applied to the to the to the quote, you can all change those results afterward. So let's do that and try to apply it to a quote. So let's open a quote here. I already have like 10 hours. Let's see what it does when you apply the assembly with that. So let's do pitched roof, 2000 shingles. Let's take the BP and maybe 200 feet of starter, and that's going to be 20 hours and then 4 rolls. Okay, let's save that. And now this is applying to the quote, and if there's materials or rates that are the same, it's going to add them. So here we started with 10 hours of worker time. In the assembly, we had 20 hours. Now it's 30 hours. So the software actually added those together. And the same applies for all materials if you have already materials in there. And if you are not happy with that and you find it's a little bit too high, you can go in, change the quantity, and click on save. And now you've updated your quote. And you go, and you can do that over and over, and you have an history of all the data you've entered inside, so that you can trace back how you've come up with those numbers. And so this is how you actually create and use an assembly. I'm sure you have a lot more questions. Feel free to hit the chat there, talk to our experts. They're going to guide you to create an assembly by yourself or with their help through a screen sharing or anything like that, and you'll be on your way. It's really simple once you get the hang of it. So go on and enjoy.